700 flights were canceled Saturday. A new contract has been under negotiation for months. The biggest issue still to be resolved is pay for time on the ground between flights and when passengers are boarding.
Correspondent Wendy Gillette, Canada's largest airline, now says it will resume flights tomorrow evening. The federal government, though, did not immediately comment on the union refusing to return to work. 2 Americans have drowned within a 3-hour span at the same Bahamas resort, according to police. They occurred at Celebration Key, a new $600 million private resort for guests of Carnival Cruise Lines that opened in July. One of the drowning victims was a passenger on the Carnival Cruise Line ship Mardi Gras. The other was a passenger on board the Carnival Elation. Both were traveling with their families. Quote, our thoughts and prayers are with the guests and their families, and our care team is providing assistance, according to a Carnival statement. Just before noon Friday, a 79-year-old man became unresponsive while snorkeling off one of the Celebration Key beaches. About 2.5 hours later, police say a 74-year-old woman was discovered unresponsive at a swimming pool in the resort. A lifeguard pulled the woman from the waters and performed CPR, but could not revive her. Pushback in Texas against the Republican legislature's effort to gain GOP seats in Congress through redistricting.
In Austin, demonstrations against gerrymandering the Texas congressional map to produce more Republican districts. Odie Blair with the Texas ACLU.
Governor Abbott and Attorney General Ken Paxton are following the president's agenda to dilute the electoral power of black and brown Texans.
Former Congressman Beto O'Rourke telling the crowd,
those who seek to intimidate us and break us, they do this because they are afraid.
Democratic lawmakers have fled the state to prevent a quorum in the legislature that would allow the redistricting measure to move forward.
Correspondent Dave Packer wins News Time 750, traffic and AccuWeather in a minute on 1010 Wins. It's News Time 751. Let's get you where you need to go. Susan Browning.
And here's what we see on Long Island's Big 3, the westbound side of the LIE delay start around Glen Cove Road. Exit 39 continue right into Queens. Southern State, that's got the pockets of delay slow from Straight Path, West Babylon to the Wantagh Parkway. Another jam up from the Meadowbrook to exit 17, that's Hempstead Avenue. And again, a bit of a slowdown from Valley Stream to the Cross Island Parkway. Northern State, pockets of delays westbound from like Route 1067 to the Wantagh, and then from the Meadowbrook to Lakefield Road. Here's what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. Outbound George, 25 or less, both ways, up and down. Lincoln, 15 minutes in both directions. Still pretty much the same for the inbound Holland. If you can hop that onto that Newark Bay extension, it's going to save you about 10 minutes. It's 15 minutes there. And from the Pulaski Skyway, about 25 minutes or so. Outer Bridge and Goethals, 20 minutes or less to Staten Island with a flash flood warning for Staten Island until 9:15. And my goodness, that northbound FDR at Houston, right Linstall, still there in your slow from around the Brooklyn Bridge. Susan Browning, 1010 Wins at 92.3 FM.
Now your official 1010 Wins AccuWeather forecast with meteorologist Carl Erickson.
Well, behind the heavier storms which moved through earlier this evening, still a spotty shower with thunderstorm through tonight, otherwise mostly cloudy, low 67. But this is all the leading edge of a nice refreshing air mass which will build in tomorrow. As clouds give way to some sunshine, it will be cooler, noticeably less humid going into the afternoon, high 75. Partly cloudy and more comfortable tomorrow night, low 66. And beautiful weather Tuesday and Wednesday as that humidity remains low. Partly to mostly sunny sky each day, high 76 on Tuesday, Wednesday's high 78. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Carl Erickson on New York's weather station, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM.
Well, foot traffic in Manhattan surpassed pre-pandemic levels for the first time since COVID-19 shut the city down more than 5 years ago. This is according to Placer AI, a firm monitoring pedestrian activity across the country. The company announced visits to offices in the city's commercial districts were up 1.3% last month compared to July 2019, marking a milestone. Still, Placer AI's findings echo data from commercial real estate consultancy Vision Young, which said leasing activity in the first half of this year reached its highest level since 2018. But it's unclear how long the resurgence will last. Google is using AI to suggest travel destinations based on activities.
One of the reasons people are switching over to AI tools so fast is because of how easy they are to use, and in particular, how different the experience is than a typical app. Instead of having to know what you want, the idea of being able to essentially ask and then have the computer do all of the work is really compelling.
Correspondent Ian Scher wins News Time 7:56. Time now for Bloomberg Money Watch.
RV camping is hooking up to a whole new level of luxury.
There were many leisure travelers who were not traditional campers who embraced camping during the pandemic.
Diane Eichler is Senior Vice President of Marketing at the campground operator KOA.
They generally want amenity-filled type of camping.
And she says that means
The things that they would have when they were going to a hotel, they're now wanting in a camping experience.
So think amenities like fast Wi-Fi, swimming pools, and fitness centers, and also,
Barbecue grills, fire pits.
Blue Water Key RV Resort in Florida has private cabanas. Firefly in Texas offers RV campers private chefs, and waterfront RV hookups at Motor Coach Country Club in Indio, California can cost over $200 a night. Or you can just buy an RV lot there. That could set you back as much as $800,000. I'm Denise Pellegrini, Bloomberg Money Watch on 1010 Wins at 92.3 FM.
WINS FM in HD1 New York. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
We've got some heavy, gusty thunderstorms moving east of the city early this evening. Then later tonight, we're cloudy, we're breezy, a shower or two. A low of 67. Then tomorrow, breezy, much cooler, less humid, a stray shower to start. Clouds break for some sun in the afternoon and a high of 75. Tomorrow night, partly cloudy, a low of 66. On Tuesday, sunshine, some clouds, low humidity, and a high of 76. On Wednesday, breezy, some sun, and a high of 78. More people get their news from 1010 Wins than from any other radio station in the nation. Gary Souter is over at the editor's desk. I am Stephanie Officer.
All news, all the time. This is 1010 Wins at 92.3 FM, New York.
Good evening. It's 74 degrees at 8 o'clock. I'm Bud Mishkin. Here's what's happening. 3 people are dead, at least 9 wounded from a mass shooting at a club in Crown Heights at 3:30 this morning.
We believe that there were up to 4 shooters involved in this incident.
Ukrainian President Zelensky will have plenty of backup this time for his meeting tomorrow with President Trump at the White House. European and NATO leaders will be joining him. U.S. Open begins tomorrow with a week of qualifying matches. Air Canada's flights are still grounded because of a work stoppage by 10,000 flight attendants. And actor Terrence Stamp, known for his work in the movies Billy Budd, Far From the Madding Crowd, and the Superman movies, has died. Sports, the Mets are playing the Mariners tonight in the Little League Classic in Williamsport, PA. Yankees beat the Cardinals. NYCFC is playing Nashville. AccuWeather, the thunderstorms have generally moved through. Otherwise, cloudy and breezy with a shower or two tonight and a low of 67. Wins News Time, 8:01. Let's get you where you need to go. Here's Susan Browning.
Let's go to the Garden State and see what's up on that northbound Jersey Turnpike, the eastern spur before the Secaucus Junction, which is 15X. An accident taking down at least 1 lane of traffic. Northbound Garden State, delays from around exit 105 to PNC Bank Arts Center in Homedale. And we're also seeing delays in Orange County with folks trying to make their way home. Southbound on the New York State Thruway, you're slow from Tuxedo down to exit 15. That's Route 287 in Suffern. But southbound Route 17 is looking good. It's loosened up, and that is a good alternate to get around that problem. Oh, still this issue. What's going on the northbound FDR at Houston Street with that stalled car there? You've got a bit of a slowdown from before the Brooklyn Bridge. Here's what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. The outer bridge in Goethals, 20 minutes or less to Staten Island, and the outbound George, 20 or less coming inbound. About 30 minutes less than that, possibly Lincoln 15 both ways. Pulaski, 25 minutes coming in. The Holland inbound, 25 minutes from Pulaski. There we go. 15 minutes from the Newark Bay Extension going outbound. You are breezing along, not seeing a problem there. And here's what we see on Long Island's Big 3. Just pockets of slowdowns on the LIE Northern State and Southern States. Susan Browning, 1010 Wins at 92.3 FM.
It was a hot, sticky weekend, but the thunderstorms that have come through have cooled it off a bit. Here's the latest from AccuWeather's Carl Larison.
There'll still be a leftover shower or thunderstorm through this evening, but this is the leading edge of a nice, refreshing air mass, which will build in late tonight into the day tomorrow. You notice a big drop-off on that humidity tomorrow, so a lot more comfortable compared to these recent days. And even into Tuesday and Wednesday, will feature more in the way of sunshine with temperatures in the mid and upper 70s. And I'll be back in about 10 minutes with a complete 4-day AccuWeather forecast.
A mass shooting early this morning in Crown Heights, Brooklyn.
Last night, we lost 3 New Yorkers and 9 more are in the hospital after a horrific act of gun violence at a nightclub in Crown Heights.
Shooting happened at the Taste of the City Lounge on Franklin Avenue just before 3:30 this morning. 1010 Wins reporter Amanda Alexander.
After finding 42 shell casings, police say there was more than one shooter at Taste of the City Lounge. Folks in the area now on edge.
Really heartbreaking.
Right now, I can't even have my daughter go outside to the store and feel comfortable. You know, it's just crazy.
But Marie was at the party. She lost her phone, wallet, and sight of her friend.
He was next to me. I couldn't say nothing to him. I'm just trying to get out, save my life.
And she's not sure if he's one of the 12 victims.
So now I went to the car. I saw the car is there. I don't see him, so it gotta be something happened to him.
Police also finding a gun nearby, but not the shooters. Amanda Alexander, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM in Crown Heights.
Ukrainian President Zelensky will be in Washington tomorrow to meet with President Trump at the White House. Their earlier meeting at the White House came completely unraveled, with President Trump and Vice President Vance vehemently criticizing Zelensky. This time, Zelensky will be joined by European leaders. He visited EU headquarters in Brussels today.
We have to stop the killings. Putin has many demands. It's impossible to do this under the pressure of weapons. So it's necessary to cease fire and work quickly on a final deal.
President Putin refused to agree to a ceasefire at a summit with President Trump in Alaska Friday. That had been President Trump's stated goal going into the meeting, but after the summit, President Trump aligned with Russia's longtime goal of an end to the war without a ceasefire. The city's cooling centers are incredibly important during summer heat waves, especially for those who do not have air conditioning at home. Councilmember Keith Powers says the city's current cooling center plan has been successful in protecting New Yorkers in extreme heat, but there's room for improvement. A new bill passed in the city council aims to do just that.
One of the key components of our legislation doesn't exist today is doing a requirement that there is a certain amount of centers, so 7 centers per 100,000 people. So we don't have a cluster of cooling centers in one borough or one area.
And making sure that neighborhoods that are at risk of high heat and home to vulnerable populations have access to cooling centers. U.S. Open gets underway tomorrow at the USTA Billie Jean King National Tennis Center in Queens with a first round of qualifying matches. The qualifying matches take place during the first week and conclude on August 20th, and then the men's and women's singles and doubles begin. Admission is free to the public for the first week of qualifying tournaments, not so for the rest of the 2 weeks of the U.S. Open. Erin has been downgraded to a Category 3. Wind and heavy rain are lashing Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands, and the east coast of the United States will see some effect this week.
Fingers crossed as Hurricane Erin turns out in the Atlantic. Right now, weather experts think the huge storm will eventually turn away from the U.S. East Coast. High surf and an increasing risk of rip currents will be growing threats through the week from the Carolinas here to the Northeast. The National Weather Service has already posted small craft advisories for the coastline of Delaware, New Jersey, New York, and Massachusetts.
It's correspondent Jim Krasula. If you have an Air Canada flight, it is really a good idea to check in with the carrier.